I was thoroughly enjoying my time in Spain, traveling on the weekends, eating good food, and meeting new people. But when April came along and I had a week free from classes, I decided to make the most of my time off with a little tour of 4 of Europe's most interesting and beautiful places. Leaving the details to later, I planned to take a plane from Granada to Florence, then fly from Florence to Paris, catch a train from Paris to Luxembourg City, and finally end up in the small western town of Salztal, Germany. My travel buddy for the week would be my boyfriend Ross, who was spending the semester interning in London.
Florence is one of my favorite cities in Europe, and it was the first stop on our spring break trip. It was a lot of fun getting to walk around downtown Florence and people watch and take in all the good food and amazing architecture in Florence. It was a little bit busy, but that kind of just added to the atmosphere, and getting to go to the off the beaten track restaurants and taste good wine and eat good pizza was probably my favorite part of going to Florence.
Although we didn't have the best weather while we were there, we were still able to enjoy some of the city's best attractions, watch local artists in action, and of course, taste plenty of gelato. One of my favorite places in Florence is the Piazza di Santa Croce, one of the city's biggest plazas and a great place to people watch. The plaza is named after the Basilica di Santa Croce, a beautiful church supposedly founded by St. Francis himself. Inside, the basilica is gorgeous. As the largest Franciscan church in the world, it's shaped like a cross and is well known for its giant wooden altar crucifix, detailed wall frescoes, and floors inlaid with marble. Oh, and it's also the burial place of many famous Italians, including Galileo and Dante. The architecture was especially impressive, with the wooden ceiling and the colorful stained glass. But being able to stand in front of Galileo's tomb, knowing just across the aisle on the other side of the church was where Michelangelo was buried, was something you could definitely only do in Florence. We also visited Florence's famous landmark, the Basilica di Santa Maria del Fiore, better known as the Duomo. And then we enjoyed crossing the city's many little bridges along the Arno River, stopping to check out fresh markets and find even more beautiful architecture. Soon enough, though, our time in Florence was over, and we found ourselves ready to begin part 2 of our European adventure.
Paris was kind of a whirlwind trip. We were there for less than 24 hours, but we did pack a lot into it. We arrived and got to our hotel, and then were able to go out and get an authentic Parisian meal, and then walk down by the river and walk around there.
I was very excited to see the Eiffel Tower. I never expected it to be so enormous and so breathtakingly beautiful. And then, as if to prove it could be even more amazing, at midnight the tower exploded into hundreds of sparkling lights.
And almost got to the Arc de Triomphe that night as well. But we were caught in a torrential downpour and kind of had to huddle under a crepe stand, which just added to the French experience.
After seeing the Eiffel Tower in all its glory from the ground, we just had to see what it was like at the top. Just walking the streets of Paris, you would never realize how beautiful and expansive the city really is. Looking out from the top of the tower at 986 feet above the city, we were able to spot the Arc de Triomphe, the Champ de Mars, and the winding Seine River below. Back on the ground, we enjoyed more of Paris and finally made it to the Arc de Triomphe in much better weather. But before we knew it, we had to say goodbye to Paris and catch a train to Luxembourg. In Luxembourg, we met up with Ross's parents, who are currently living in Germany, and then explored the little country's capital at night. A few hours later, we were in Jaunt, Germany, a small rural town in the western part of the country.
We were being crazy, traveling around Europe, and then being able to go to Germany and just relax there, and still get to take in some sights there was probably my favorite part. After getting caught up in the non-stop big city life of Florence and Paris, it was really nice being able to spend time in the German countryside. We visited Germany's oldest city, Trier, just a short drive south of Jaunt, and home to the Porta Nigra, an ancient gate built by the Romans. I really liked seeing a different side of European cities and trying delicious, authentic German food. My favorite part of our spring break trip was the fact that we were able to jump around to so many different countries in such a short period of time, and that was so easy to do. Whether we were taking a plane, or we were taking a train, or we were taking a bus into a city, it was really easy to do, and like I said, we did it in 4 days.
After several days of sightseeing and traveling, I was back in an airport waiting for the last flight of the week from Jaunt to Granada. Even though it wasn't easy saying goodbye to the amazing week of European exploration I had just had, I realized returning to my life in Spain would be just another adventure, not to mention the nearly 2 months I still had to see even more of the continent that had become my temporary home.